So to get this show on the road, let's see, last time we met and talked on this channel, I think I'd only read February and January, I think is what I reviewed last, and maybe we were like in the middle of March. So I am at, I think, approximately book 27 out of my goal for 50 books. So, woo, a little over halfway there. Currently, I am in the most serious case of book hangover from, you probably guessed it, if you follow my Instagram, Fourth Wing. Um, that book was amazing. I got a couple DMs on my Instagram about doing a video actually dedicated to my entire thought process as I read The Fourth Wing. I think it's because a lot of people on Instagram know that I am in the military. So I think, oh, my cat's making an appearance. Hello, say hello to YouTube, Mr. Schmelly Cat. This is Elmo. Say hey. Say hi, Elmo. And so I think a lot of people on my Bookstagram, if they know me or if they've talked to me or we've done buddy reads together or whatever, they've actually found out I'm in the military. I'm part-time, I'm in the National Guard, so I think I have a different perspective, as Rebecca Yarros, the author of Fourth Wing, actually is a second-generation Army brat, and she married a military guy. So, um, I have probably a little bit more of a perspective that like was exposed to, so I will gladly do that. So comment if you really want me to. The book was freaking amazing. However, though, I have read a couple books since then. I'm about to start another book today, hopefully. So let's go ahead and start recapping, and we'll go ahead and start with March. So for March, I think it was pretty quick. I think I highlighted it a little bit in my last video. I spent the first half of March finishing the Bridgerton series. That kind of leads me into the first two books I've read in July. So I finished the Bridgerton 8 about, Edmund and Violet Bridgerton's 8 children. Anthony, Benedict, Colin, Daphne, Eloise, Francesca, George, and Hyacinth. There we go. I had to go through the alphabet. And, they were okay. They weren't my favorite. I probably wouldn't read them again. I got rid of them. I actually forwarded them to a girl from my Bookstagram community. So, in all reality, I think they're just going to keep getting passed after people read them for the first time. So, good for them. Then I read Mirror Girls with a book club through Bookstagram. A really great group of women from all over the place. I've really liked them, and I believe I've read about 3 books with them and attended 2 meetings. So I'll mention the other books that I'd read with them as well. And then I read Book Lovers, my very first Emily Henry book. I believe I rated that about 4 stars. I did end up, throughout the course of April, end up reading the rest of Emily Henry's books, including Happy Place that came out. And I believe I rated all of them 4, except I think I might have rated People We Met on Vacation as 5. I really did enjoy, or no, I take that back, scratch that. I rated Beach Read as 5, I believe. Beach Read was my favorite, I think, out of all of them. A lot, tied with People We Met on Vacation. She definitely has an interesting style of writing. I think she does a really good job of letting you know that you're in the 21st century without feeling like you're reading too much about TikTok and Instagram like Colleen Hoover does. Not to say that every Colleen Hoover book I've ever read in my life, I've only read 3, were terrible, but I did feel like the whole point of me reading is to escape my reality, which is, TikTok and Instagram and Twitter and stuff. And I'm not saying don't talk about social media at all, but I think Emily Henry does capture a really good way of letting you know there is social media in this world, in this universe that I've written. It is in today's world. It is based off reality, but we don't need to focus on that. That's not the point. So I did like that. Okay, so April and May I'll probably do together, and My Minimal Planner on Instagram. I love these. She sells them through Etsy. Once you buy them, you don't have to buy them again. You just keep re-downloading them as you need them. So I think they were like $3. And it comes with a couple other options as well. I talked about them in my other videos, I'm pretty sure. And I tag them on my Instagram all the time. So for April and May, I had a goal of 5 books each, and I met 3 for April and 4 for May. That's when my life got really, really busy. I'm so sorry. So, but hey, like I said, we're still on track so far for meeting my goal of 50. April, we've got People We Met on Vacation, like I mentioned before. I also joined a traveling book club, and I read Rhapsodic. It was a book sent to me, and essentially the point of the traveling book club was that we were going to read a book, put in all of our annotations, and tag it and mark it and everything else, send it to the next person, and the original person who owns the book would get it with all these other people's perspectives and notes and questions and comments throughout the whole thing. So it was really cool. I'm still waiting for the second book. That one was decent. That's by Laura Thalassa, I think. So her book was really, really good, but I did feel a little lost until about halfway. Now that I've read the first book of the ACOTAR series by Sarah J. Maas, I would give it a close vibe to that, and then probably with a mixture of, Fourth Wing and all the fantasy novels. So same kind of vibe, basically. I really, really like that first book, though, and it is in my plans sometime eventually to go and read the rest of them. Then the second book that I read with my other book club, the one that I read Mirror Girls with, is Wrong Place, Wrong Time, and that one was so, so good. 10 out of 10 recommend. Definitely be in the right headspace to track a lot of information. The author does a good job of carrying you through each parts of the timeline for the main character who is stuck essentially in a Groundhog Day after watching her son murder somebody. And then you end up finding out that throughout her whole life, she essentially missed the signs of how that came to be about. So really, really good. Was not expecting the twist at the end by any means. So, yeah, that's all I'll say on that. Going right into May, I read, like I said, 4 books. Donut Trap was all right. I wanted to like that book so, so, so much. It's such a cute cover. It's like this bright yellow, colored book with a big donut on it with pink icing and sprinkles. And I feel like I got caught up too much in a main character who never really gained any kind of courage to do anything. Like, I still felt by the end there was bare minimum character development. I feel like she really didn't accomplish what she said that she wanted to accomplish. So, yeah, it wasn't my favorite, and I was really sad. I haven't read any more of the author's books, which is Julie Tieu. I'm not sure how to pronounce it. But I'm hoping maybe her other one's all right. Then I read I'm Glad My Mom Died. My first nonfiction book in a while. So, 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 so good. Funny parts to it just because Jennette McCurdy is a funny person. Really sad, really, really tragic. It makes you really question, like, she wanted to love her mom so much, and she probably still does, but her mom was definitely living vicariously through her, and it hurt her in the long run. So if you have not read that yet, I know I was a little bit behind the curve with that one. You should. Then leading me into finishing the last 2 Emily Henry books, I read Happy Place and I read Beach Read. I'm going to say it a million times. I love the way Emily Henry writes. I love that. I feel like I'm still in the 21st century without feeling like I'm in real life, hearing too much about TikTok and Instagram and everything else. I really do, really, really do appreciate that about her. Beach Read made me cry. Every Summer After, my first Carly Fortune book. That one was amazing. A little anticlimactic. The whole whatever plot twist, I guess, was kind of disappointing. I'm not going to lie. I was like, yeah, I get why that's a big deal, but also, like, that's what caused all this. Like, you should have been talked to him. So, It was, but I did like it. She reminded me of a lot of authors that I grew up reading, and again with that same kind of theme. I'm somebody that likes to escape the point of reality. So the less you talk about the specifics of social media, like you can mention it, you can talk about how they DM'd you or whatever, that's fine. But don't get that specific because I don't care unless it literally matters to the plot. I don't care. I don't care that he DM'd you and liked your picture and everything else. I deal with enough of that in reality. I don't want to read that in my books. So leading in with that is probably why I like the next two books that I read, because they were fantasy books. I read my first ACOTAR book, which is ACOTAR itself, A Court of Thorns and Roses by Sarah J. Maas. I hated it. I hated it. I hated it. It was so boring, and I felt like 1 second they were in love, or 1 second she hated everybody there, then the next second she was in love with somebody, and the next second she was trying to lose her life for him. I was so confused. I have heard that I will like the rest of the series better, so I guess I'll debut this information. I have not started it yet, but it is in my little carrier. I do have the second book. I went to Barnes & Noble and I bought the rest. So I do have the 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, whatever books that it is. I don't even know. And let me tell you, initial reactions, these bad boys are thick with 3 C's. Like, this is like a teal color, right? The little tiny blue one, is really small. And then they get thick as hell again. I was like, okay, Harry Potter. Like, I guess that's where we're going with this. So, yeah, I guess I'm going to start it and I'm going to read the rest. But initial reaction, the first one, ACOTAR itself, I hated it. I think on my Goodreads and on Bookstagram, I rated it like 3 stars. It was so bad. It took me I'm kidding you not, it took me all of June. I read it from June 7th to June 25th. Like, and let me tell you, boy, was I glad I finished it, because the book I read after that was Fourth Wing, which I've already talked about earlier in this video. It was phenomenal. And like I said, if you put in the comments that you want me to talk about that in one whole video, I will. And I will gladly give my perspective. She did an amazing job of the military perspective, the culture, the way we banter, the way we flirt, the way our relationships are. I did, however, see a lot of comments on Bookstagram and thoughts that they didn't like it. They were like, and here's why, which is really funny. And I don't want to offend anybody, because your opinion is your opinion. And if you didn't like it, you didn't like it. I mean, it doesn't have to be your cup of tea. Rebecca Yarros is literally a second-generation military kid, army brat, and married a guy in the military, I'm pretty sure. I think he's out now. Some of her other books, if not all, I don't know a lot about her, are literally military romance books. And as a military girly myself, part-time or whatever, we have our own culture and environment. And if you went into this book knowing it takes place, and it says on there, on the back in the description, they're at a war college, and you expected that they weren't going to cuss a lot and that there wasn't going to be a little bit of promiscuity, right? That's how you say promiscuity? Yeah. And everything else, you were badly mistaken. Let me tell you, okay, there is a reason why they say if you're in the military, you're going to get divorced at least one time, all right? Like, I'm just going to put it there. So if you haven't read it and you are watching this, don't read it if you're going to be sensitive to a lot of cussing, a lot of hookup culture, a lot of violence. Yeah, don't read it. You're not going to enjoy it. And it needed it, because that is the military. So to have a book about a war college and this made up, country's military, it's going to need all that, especially being influenced heavily by the military in the real life. So don't read it if that's not what you're into. But let me tell you, in the ranks of the United States military, that's what's happening. So yeah, it was really good though, and I actually really enjoyed it. So enough thoughts on that. We can get deeper into that conversation in a video about just Fourth Wing. Um, so that ends June, and then for July, to get out of my serious book hangover, to go back to Bridgerton. They're spin-offs of Bridgerton. To include 4 books about the Rokesbys, which take place not very far from, I think it's Aubrey Hall. Apparently they've been neighbors for generations. The first book is Because of Miss Bridgerton, and that's about Billy Bridgerton, and she marries George Rokesby, one of the brothers of the Rokesby family, and Billy Bridgerton is the sister of Edmund Bridgerton, the Bridgerton eight's dad, who passed away. Not a huge character. I think Edmund was mentioned basically, and then like kind of talked to, but that was basically it. The second one was The Girl with the Fake Belief Husband. That one was about Edward Rokesby, and he's in the military, and he's over in the fighting in the American Revolution on the British side, of course. And he has a best friend named Thomas Harcourt, who has a sister named Cecilia Harcourt, and they meet, and this is the story about them. And then, yeah, like I said, today I'm starting A Court of Mist and Fury, so wish me luck, because, like I said, the rumor is that I'm going to like it, but we'll see. While I am at training, my plan is to finish the ACOTAR next 2, Court of Mist and Fury, and then whatever the next one after that is. It's already packed. And then I have some other books packed with me that I can kind of go over once I'm there. They're all packed, like I said. And I'm currently listening to the audiobook of Fourth Wing. Twilight and Fourth Wing being my personality. Who? So, yeah, those are kind of like the last few months of my life. I've been really busy. I've had a lot of training, a lot of work stuff. I got promoted at work. I've got annual training coming up, so that's why I'm going to be kind of MIA for my Bookstagram over the next 2 weeks, unless things tone out to be a little bit calm, but I doubt that. So, yeah, next time I see you guys, we can talk about Fourth Wing. Next time I see you guys, we could talk about what I want to read over the next course of the year, next portion of the year, rather, August, September, October, November, December. I might slow down come around October because that is when my big wedding is. So it was nice rambling to you guys about the last couple of months about the books that I've read and kind of my thoughts about it. And feel free to let me know if there's things that you would want me to talk about, things you want to see, things we can go over. Honestly, I can digest all of the Emily Henry books and my thoughts about it. Fourth Wing. Maybe we can go through my ACOTAR journey. But yeah, so talk to you guys soon.